How to teach English in Thailand versus Vietnam. That's what I'm going to be covering in this video. All right, everyone. So good morning from Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, Vietnam. I'm at my morning cafe getting my Cafe Den Da. It's about 50 cents coffee. I love this place. I come here every day. And the funny thing is, too, is that Alex Stevenson of Ninja Teacher, he literally moved in next door. He moved his company in next door. I literally just met him. It's crazy. I've been seeing that guy on YouTube for years and years, and to like meet him in person, to hey, I've seen you so many times. Anyways, teaching English in Thailand versus Vietnam. So I was a teacher in Thailand for about 5 years, so I'm quite experienced with that. And I've been a teacher at like an Anuban level school, which is like little kids, Mathiom level school, which is like high school. And I also worked at a university for 2 years. So I've done everything in Thailand with regards to teaching. And then in Vietnam, obviously I've been living here on and off. So I do have friends here, so I kind of understand how this country works with teaching. So anyways, let me start with Thailand because that is where my experience primarily is. Now, the requirements for Thailand are pretty simple. All you need is a bachelor's degree, and once you have a bachelor's degree, then you can come out to Thailand and get a job teaching English. And I forget what months are hiring, but like obviously they're looking for teachers when the semester starts. So just be aware of that if you're going to start like looking for work. You can't just go mid-semester. I believe it's June and or May. That's the first start, and then like 4 months, and then again it starts again. Don't quote me on that. I don't really know, but I'm saying like you want to get at start at when the semester starts to look for work. Uh, the actual legal requirement is just have a bachelor's degree. If you have a bachelor's degree, you're good to go. That's all you need. You can apply for work and teach. Now, if your degree is like in accounting or finance or something like that, non-education related, you can get a work permit and then a temporary teacher's license. And the temporary teacher license is good for 3 years. So you can be a teacher for 3 years. If you don't obtain any type of like degree above and beyond that after that 3 year period, then they can't give you a teacher's license because the goal of a temporary teacher's license is for you to obtain some type of education, like some type of degree in education, whatever. Then you can move on to a full teacher's license and then you can just be a teacher. So just be aware of that. Now, if you do have a degree in education and you're coming out here to Thailand with a degree in education already, you get a full teacher's license right off the bat with no issue. And that's pretty much it. That's literally the only legal requirement for Thailand. Just have a degree and then go through the rigmarole of getting hired, getting a work permit, and getting a temporary teacher's license or a full teacher's license depending on your degree. Vietnam pretty much works the same way where you need a degree, but they do want to see some experience here. So they typically like to see you have like a TEFL certificate. So that's really the only difference. So they want to see like a bachelor's degree and some type of like certification. That's it. Simple as that. So both countries are pretty simple to become a teacher here. The difference, though, is that with Vietnam, you just need like a TEFL certificate, you get your job, and then you're going to be working at like usually like a language center, and there's no like teacher license here. There's not. It's a different country, so they don't do that here. So you can be a teacher here for many years, again and again and again. Whereas like Thailand, you're limited to 3 years if you don't obtain some type of further education. So that's it really for the requirements and like what you can kind of expect between the two places. Now, where exactly are you going to be teaching within both countries? So in Thailand, you have your government schools, which are your low paid jobs. Above and beyond those basic government school jobs, which are plentiful and around any multiple provinces in Thailand, you have your EP programs, and it's still like English program. Technically, yeah, EP program. Then a step above EP programs are your universities. And universities have their own tiers. There's like government universities, and then there's like proper international schools, and that's like a whole different thing. So, what to expect? Government schools are the easiest to get jobs. They're the lowest paying. You'll be paid barely enough to live. Most teachers in Thailand who are working at a government school are usually like working their job and then they're doing some type of like teaching on the side in the evening or something like that, just to make enough money to live. This guy's, yeah. So hopefully this microphone's holding up. So that's how Thailand works. If you're at like government school, because like that's how it was for me when I worked at Anuban and Benjamin Ratchaburi. I was paid like 30 something thousand baht. That was barely enough to live. That just paid my rent and food. And at the end of the month, I had like literally like 2,000 baht in my account. It was awful. Like Thailand's awful with this. They don't pay very well at all if you're at that low level. So you have to do something on the side. You have to take extra class and whatnot. What a lot of teachers do now is like they'll do like something like VIP Kid or Teach English Online to make that extra money. A position that's a little bit better, like I mentioned, is the EP program, which is quite good because you can teach in a wide range of subjects and you don't have to like teach English. Like I worked at an EP program at an Anuban school and I was the computer teacher and that was fun. I was teaching like little kids computer for 2 years. It's like great, no English, none of it, like no, not that's good. It's like just computer, great. Had a great time, really, really fun. So I would suggest like EP programs are a little bit better because you have that more flexibility where you can be like the health teacher, you can be the gym teacher, teach computer, teach arts. Like there's more variety of subjects and it's a little bit more fun. The pay still sucks though. The pay is still the same as a government school typically. And then above and beyond that are like your government universities, which are really good jobs, but again, they're low paying. So I worked at a government university. My salary was still like 30 something thousand baht. The only difference that made it better was because I was able to like move my class around because I'm a lecturer technically. So because I was a lecturer, I'm in charge of my classes. I can move my classes around as I want. So I was able to move my classes to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so that's great because like other schools, I had to work like Monday to Friday, 7:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock. When I was working at the university, I was able to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, and then like Thursday, Friday, I didn't have to come into school if I didn't want to. I could do whatever I want. As long as the work got done, I could do whatever I want, which was great, which I really liked. The only thing with the university that was really annoying was grading papers. If you've ever never done that, grading papers is mind-numbingly boring because you'll have hundreds of students. You'll have like I had 3 days of teaching, 2 classes per day. So 2, that's 6 classes. Each class is like 40 students. And then it's like, just do the math. Like if it takes you like 3 minutes to grade one paper, you're going to spend hours every week. I hated it. That's the one thing I hated about working at a university, grading papers and like marking everything down. Is like, that was so boring. So that's how I would spend my like Thursday and Friday. Even though I didn't have to go to university, I could wake up like this, I get my coffee, had that flexibility. I spent the day at a cafe grading papers. So, but you have more flexibility. That's my whole point. So that's the kind of levels of teaching that you can experience in Thailand. And also like both Vietnam and Thailand have their international schools that you can get a job at if you want. So international schools are a proper career. So if you land to get that, you need a master's degree in education and experience. Like my friend Maddie, who I worked with at where would we work together? Yeah, we worked at Benjamin together, and then he went back to the UK. I was thinking, like, did he work at Benjamin? Or I don't know about. No, I worked with him at Benjamin. Anyways, he went back to the UK, spent a year in the UK, got his degree in education, and went through that rigmarole. And then he was able to land a job at an international school in Bangkok. Teaching English. And so he's teaching like high schoolers, but he's at an international school. International school is paying him like 110,000 baht, something like that. Or that's what his salary was like a few years ago. So it's probably more than that now. But that's why like you want to get like an international school job, because if you're a proper teacher, like if you're watching this and you're someone who has a degree in education, a master's degree and all that, like you really should be looking at international schools. You shouldn't really, if you just want to come out to Thailand for a year and get a government school job in a random province, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's fine. But if you're like a proper teacher, I would go with the international school routes because you're paid way better with a lot more benefits and it's a proper career. Whereas the government school thing, that's really more for like young people who are like traveling and kind of just want to live abroad for a year or two. That's what I touched on in my teacher trap video. You want to come abroad for like 2 years, then go back to your country. That's why I said I'd come out here with a plan. Anyways, that's all about Thailand. So much about Thailand. So Vietnam is a little bit more simpler on that front. So again, like you just need a bachelor's degree, a TOEFL certificate, and where you're primarily going to be working here in this country is usually like language centers, unfortunately. I know people don't want to hear that. Like, yeah, nights and weekends. Sorry. Like you're like, I don't want to do that. Well, then probably don't want to come to Vietnam because that's what you're going to be working at, nights and weekends at a language center. Now, the difference with that is you're just paid by the hour here. So like what most teachers end up doing is like they'll get a job at like a language center here, and they'll usually like work like 2 jobs at 2 different language centers to make enough money to support themselves. So usually they're paid like 20 something dollars an hour. Put it all together, they're making like 1,500, 1,600, and like that's actually enough money to live out here quite comfortably, because even though with my online business, like I don't cut corners with what I spend, but I'm not like a big spender, but I'm really just spending like $1,200 personally out here to live. When I was in Bangkok, I was spending more. When I lived in Bangkok, I would say like $2,000. It was $2,000 what I was spending. So Vietnam's a little bit cheaper on all fronts. The downside though is because like you're working nights and weekends. Online English teaching is quite lucrative if you do like something like VIP Kid. So like you could be a teacher in Thailand, do your job, come home, and then work from like 6 to 8 or like 6, even like 6 to 7:30, whatever, as a doing online teaching and make a decent income, where that's not really an option if you're in Vietnam. So I mean, I guess what you could do is like maybe work at your job at your language center, do 3 days there, and then like do online teaching the other days if you want, like put it together like that, I guess. I don't know. But you're working nights and weekends here. And are there like normal hours available here? Like it's possible, but it's not the norm here. It's not like maybe you can get a job at a kindergarten where you're working like 8 to 3, 8 to 4, but that's not the standard here. So just expect to be working at a language center if you come out here to Vietnam. And of course, Vietnam has its international schools just like Thailand. So that's a whole different tier. Okay, so you guys can, if you want to go that route, you can work at international schools in like Germany and France and Spain and Vietnam and like it's a whole industry. I'm just talking about like basic level and then like the higher level. And that's really the primary difference between the two places. And so what's nice about Vietnam is because you're paid by the hour, you're only paid when you work. So you don't have to go to the language center if you're not working. Whereas Thailand, you sign a contract and it's a proper job, Monday to Friday, standard hours, 8 to 4 roughly. And so it's kind of annoying sometimes because like typically your workload at school in Thailand will be 18 hours to 22. 22 hours is a bit much. You really want to be looking for like 18 to 20 hours, 20 hours max of actual in-class teaching. And now people who are not teachers are like, well, that's so little. Like if you're not, it's annoying because like teaching is exhausting. It's like giving a lecture. So like a 3-hour speech every day, that's a lot of talking. And then you got to prepare and plan and grade. So that's why you want to be 18 to 20 is fine. But the thing with a government school job is like, because you can't just dip out. So you got to work 8 to 4. So some days you'll have like, I only have 2 classes today. I had my class at 9 o'clock, and then I had a class at 11. I'm done by lunch. You got to stay at school, guys. You can't just dip out because you're under contract. And also you have to do other extracurricular activities like school events and English camp and whatever else they come up with. Whereas in Vietnam, because you're working at a language center, which is a private company, you get paid when you work. And so if you're not working, you don't have to be there. So that's a little bit of a difference as well. Let me take a sip. Hopefully you can't hear that guy. Vietnamese are deaf because this country's so loud. He's just yelling on the phone. So, and with now, like that's the like kind of what you're going to be teaching. I just want to cover briefly like where specifically in the country you're going to be working. So the way it works is like Thailand's nice because every province has a government school. So there's always like an opportunity to teach in a random province. If you want to work in like Buriram or Chiang Rai or Krabi or somewhere in Isan, like you can definitely get a job anywhere in the country in Thailand if you're willing to work at a government school. So if you don't want to just be based in Bangkok, you want a little bit more flexibility, you want to have the more provincial side of things, you can totally do that. And that's what's great about Thailand. Whereas with Vietnam, it's primarily you're going to be in either Hanoi or Saigon, which are both great cities. Like those, the places I would live in this country are either Hanoi, Saigon, or Da Nang. Those are the only 3 places I'd be interested in living. But if you're the type of person where you want more of like a provincial side of things in Vietnam, it's not really an option. Language centers are where all the people are with kids. So it's going to be the 2 major cities. So if you want standard hours and you want the flexibility to like work in a random province, then you're probably going to like Thailand. If you want to work nights and weekends, the language center, you'll probably like Vietnam a little bit more. So again, this is just the difference. So you guys got to make your own decision what you think is best. Because like working at a language center and whatnot, it's good nights and weekends. And also again, like you can, once you get your job, you can just be a teacher here for many years if you want. Whereas Thailand, you're limited to 3 years. So anyways, guys, I think that covers everything. Hopefully, I don't think I forgot anything. So anyways, to wrap this up, Thailand, normal hours, Monday to Friday, standard contract, 3-year teacher's license, temporary teacher's license. If you have a degree in education, then you get a full teacher's license. If you have a background in education, you really should be looking at international schools in Thailand, in my opinion. With Vietnam, it's late nights and weekends at language centers. Most people here are doing like 2 language centers and are making like $2,000 a month typically. Whereas in Thailand, if you're working at a government school, it's typically you're doing the government school job and then you're teaching like extra class or you're teaching online or something like that. Both places have their international schools. Thailand allows you to teach anywhere in the country that you want. And then Vietnam, you can teach in Saigon or Hanoi. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and how do you get a job here? Like, how do you get a job in both countries? What I would recommend is doing what like Alex Stevenson offers over at Ninja Teacher, because that's what I did in Thailand. You want to sign up to a TEFL program, because then you come out here and you're with a bunch of other foreigners, with a bunch of other Canadians and Americans and people from the UK. You're going to make friends. Then the TEFL program is helpful because you actually learn how to be a teacher, which is quite helpful. Like the program's quite useful because you actually learn how to manage a classroom, which is, if you've never done that, you don't know what you're doing. So it is quite helpful. And then they help with job placement. So I did my TEFL program in Chiang Mai for a month, beautiful Chiang Mai. And then I got a job placement for a school in Ratchaburi. And that was great. So me and a couple people at the program in Chiang Mai, we all got placed in Ratchaburi. And it was great because Ratchaburi is a cool province, actually. In retrospect, I was very lucky because Ratchaburi is a province that's like an hour away from Bangkok. And it's a little bit like it's next to Kanchanaburi. There you go. It's next to Kanchanaburi and Hua Hin. So I had this like cool like experience in Thailand for the first 5 years, completely different than other foreigners. We just come to like Pattaya, all the old men in Pattaya, and all the Phuket. I was in like a totally random province, having a great time. Kanchanaburi, Hua Hin, Bangkok. Really local middle class living because Ratchaburi is a middle class town. It's not Isan, it's not the farmland. So that's why I like the provincial side of things. But that's why that's how you get a job person, because you're like, I don't know anyone, I don't know how to do this. Like, send them for a TEFL program, get job placements, interact with other people. That's like what Alex Stevenson does at Ninja Teacher. You get your TEFL program, then they help place you at different language centers, and then there you go. And then once you're set up, then you'll start understanding how the countries work, you'll build connections and so forth. So that's really it. So guys, all right, that's enough rambling for today. I'll leave it there. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, hit that like button. And that's pretty much it. Everything I know is about, we're hitting on the almost 20-minute mark for teaching English in Thailand versus Vietnam. Which do I recommend? I don't know. I mean, my personal feeling is like, either country you come out here, like I mentioned in my teacher trap, you're going to be working at the lower level schools. Come out here with a plan. Like my original thing was like, I was going to be a teacher for 2 years in Thailand. Then I was going to go back to America because my degree is in accounting and finance. And I previously worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers. And, I had enough of that. And I just wanted a break. And I met a Thai girl in America. And then she became my girlfriend. We're dating. And then she went back to Thailand. And I was like, why don't I go to Thailand? And then I went. And it's like, whoa, it's amazing. I just wanted to stay there. And so teacher for 2 years. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to America, actually. I don't want to get a job in finance and work in a cubicle. Like, how do I make money? And then that's what I did. Figured it out. It took about 5 years all together. So that's why I always say, like, either country you'll have a great time. I'm preferential to Vietnam. I always say, like, I like Thailand, but I love Vietnam. And wherever you end up teaching, that's why I always say, like, have a plan. So if you're going to go the education route, I would suggest, like, get your degree in education and look for a school or international school thing. Because if you're going to do, like, the language center thing or government schools in Thailand, that's good for, like, young people. That's good for, like, 2-3 years. Well, no more than 2-3 years, because then that's the teacher trap. Then you get kind of stuck. Then it becomes harder to go back to the country that you're from to move on with your life. So you have a great time in either country. It's really up to you. Just come out here with a plan if you're going to be working at like a low-level school like that. So anyways, guys, Oi. I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye. Anyways, guys, I'll leave it. Anyways, guys, I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.